In my previous video, we made this nifty folding table. In today's video, I'm going to teach you step-by-step how to make digital camouflage. I'm going to teach you how to make the stencils. I'm going to teach you which paints to use and how to lay out your patterns. So let's turn this into that. Before we can put digital camouflage on these two tables, we need to prepare this surface. We're going to sand, we're going to vacuum, and then we'll hit it with the tack cloth. After that, we'll mask it off, and then we're going to put on some quality primer. I'll put a link below to some of these supplies that we're using. Let's get started. This tack cloth is going to pull off any little bits of sawdust that might be left. We're going to give this a nice coat of paint. We need to put a base coat on each table, so we're going to have two different patterns. We're using the same paint that we used in the last camo video.
Did someone say camouflage?
And I'll put a link to that video as well. We're using the Rust-Oleum camo, and we're going to put a clear coat on the end. Army green. Still a little wet, but that should do. That's a base coat on that one. Let's move to the other one. We'll get the base coat on the next one. That's got both of the tables coated with the army green. We're going to give this a chance to dry, and then we're going to start our digital camouflage. Here are the stencils that we cut earlier. This is our base pattern number 1 and number 2, and then we'll fill in with 3, 4, and 5. To make the 5 stencils, I used poster board from the office supply store. I marked out a 1/2-inch grid on all 5 stencils. Starting on the first stencil, I shaded in grid boxes to make a random pattern. I then cut out those patterns with an X-Acto knife. I repeated the process for all 5 stencils, making each one more sparse than the last. We're going to start with the number 1 pattern. I've stapled lattice to the edge on the front and the side. That'll give us a reference so that we don't lose our place each time we use the pattern. We're going to do earth brown and forest green. And forest green for the next one. That's the earth brown. We just finished the forest green. Let's take that off. That's our first look at that. We'll get our next pattern going. Just like on the number 1 pattern, the number 2 pattern has the lattice so that we can keep our pattern reference when we slide it on the table. We'll slide it on there. Perfect. Number 2 over the earth brown, we're going to use the khaki. There's the khaki all finished. Starting to come together. Let's get some different colors going. Let's do some forest green. All right, we got the third done there, and the second one done on this one. There's the second one, slightly different than the first one. And we'll move number 3 over to here. Very good. And we'll continue on. Now to finish it off, I'm just randomly putting the stencils back on, and I'm spraying random colors. I'm not necessarily hitting every single square. I'm just keeping it random. A quick little walk around. There's a slight variation in the patterns, which is kind of cool. I like the way that it turned out random. Definitely looks digital. So let's get these cleaned up so that we can get a clear coat on them. For the clear coat, I don't want to apply it in the direct sunlight. So we're going to do it over here in the shade. I'm going to coat it really smooth and easy. I'm probably going to give this 2 or 3 coats. So I'll see you when I'm finished. Both patterns are very similar, but they're slightly different. I wanted to make two different kind of patterns. They're drying in the sun now. We've got the clear coat on them. Just to kind of recap again, we've got 5 stencils that we cut. We did the base color army green on both, and then the number 1 pattern is different on both. It's a different color. Then we went to 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we just went back through and did some random colors. There's our final product. There's both tables. They're both completely done now. They've dried. We've got the clear coat on it. That's a satin finish. I think they turned out really awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments below. That wraps up today's video on digital camouflage. I hope you got some value out of today's video. If you did, give us a thumbs up and maybe subscribe below. I'm glad you watched, and I hope you'll watch again.